Welcome, reading 3. I'm not going to lie, I'm kind of chomping at the bit to do your reading. You were the first one that really wanted to bring it in, wanted to bring it close. So I'm interested because I pulled the cards already, but I haven't looked at them. So let's look at your card together. You pulled, the Wiccan Reed. I believe that's what it's called. Interesting. So I don't know if you guys are Wiccan or if you're curious about it. I would never, ever, ever, ever tell anyone what they should or shouldn't do. But I will tell you this. I'm a natural witch, and when I was on my journey to become who I am, or to wake up to who I already have always been, I had a lot of Wiccans that came through my path, and it really, it almost made me turn away from spirit and magic completely. My throat chakra, that's the second time our throat chakras come out. It came out in one of the other readings too. So if you're drawn to one of the other readings, I highly suggest you go watch it. But long story short, like I said, I'm not going to judge anything. But what I found for myself was that Wiccan felt more like the religious side of magic and witchcraft. And it just didn't work for me personally. So if it works for you and you love it, that's wonderful. But if you're wondering why you aren't drawn to it, or does it make you less of a witch, or blah, 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 no, not at all. It's just that some people like to feel a part of something. Some people want to be in a coven, and Wiccans, they have covens, and, like I said, it's like churches and things like that, and it's groups and community. I am a loner witch. I have lots of witch friends, and I work with other witches, but I have never felt the need. And when I did go into groups, I always felt drained when I left, which meant that they were draining my magic. And to me, that's dark magic. And I didn't really, it's like if you leave a gathering of quote unquote light workers, spirit warriors, spirit workers, whatever they call themselves, if you leave a gathering and you feel exhausted, those aren't your people. They're draining you for your gifts, because wherever two or more gather, we feel good. And every time I gather with really powerful witches like myself, I feel giddy. I'm like drunk with it. Like I don't want to go to bed. Like I just want to stay up all night. And then I might be exhausted the next day from holding so much energy in my human body, but no, I feel good. I feel raised up. So that's a huge, that message is for somebody. And, ethos is for you to research on your own. And you can look up the Wiccan Reed and ethos. So, but if you want to get a screenshot of this, I'm trying to find a good, sorry, I don't have fancy software. I have to use my phone. I'm trying to, let's see if I go down a little bit. Okay. If you want to try and get a screenshot, go ahead. And it says, bid the Wiccan law ye must, and perfect love, and perfect trust. 8 words the Wiccan Reed fulfill, and ye harm none, do as ye will, and ever mind the rule of 3. What ye send out comes back to thee. Follow this with mind and heart, and merry ye meet, and merry ye part. Now, there are different ways to say this too, so whatever feels good to you. This is just if you've never seen it before. But I actually have it written down in my stuff, in my storage of, I actually wrote out this one that I really fell in love with. That was, and merry ye meet, and merry ye part. By the way, it's been super dark, and all of a sudden the sun, it's been like wicked storm, and then all of a sudden the sun just came out. So I feel like that means something to some of you guys. Also, remember that, ethos, okay, yeah, so they don't want me to say anymore. So just research ethos. That is for you to look up on your own. That is your homework. They're really getting strict about you guys researching it on your own, because the more you research it, the more you retain it. It's just a fact. It just is. So, always look in the description box below. There's always things down there to look up. Sometimes Spirit has me do things specifically for readings, and sometimes it's just for the collective. So what messages do we have right now, Spirit? Do we have any more messages for reading 3? And any ancestors that want to come through? Okay, this one. Wow. Okay, so another one. If you were drawn to reading 2, please go and watch it. I'm not going to repeat myself. So research Litha and intensification. Okay, so we'll get back to that. They're having me kind of You'll see. Okay. Any more? Okay. They're like flying out. Wow. Okay. Okay. And this was in one of those other ones too. Interesting. So here's a spell and manifestation. Litha. Okay, Spirit, do we want to pull any more right now before we go forward? Because I'm feeling like there is something you're trying to say. This one. My fingers are holding on to it really, really tight. Ooh, Watchtower of the East. Spring. So, as you know, we have a large majority of our group is actually in the Southern Hemisphere. Or not a large, but there is a lot of subscribers that are in the Southern Hemisphere. So, in the Northern Hemisphere, we are in fall, but they are in spring. So, if this means anything to you, Watchtower of the East, lots of magic going on. I feel like this wants to come over here, but I want to put this back here. So, I'm going to utilize this. Also, the fact that they're having me utilize the amethyst there. Amethyst is one of the most powerful healing crystals in the universe, or at least on planet Earth. So you might want to work with it. Also, the fact that we brought in the spider is one of our spirit animals to work with, and the purple. So purple is a predominant color for Scorpio season. It didn't come up, and the throat chakra, speaking our truth, utilizing and literally like filtering through that Scorpio energy to speak your truth, speak your mind. This is the time for you to do that. Let's see, what else? I'm also feeling the yellow a lot because there's yellow and gold in there. So your two colors are the purple and gold, or purple and yellow, or purple, gold, and yellow. Also, in the 10-day challenge that we did with Spirit, I believe it was the first day we had a spell that they wanted us to do over the next full moon, which will be the full moon in Taurus, but it will be in the Scorpio moon energy, right, in the Scorpio season. So you may want to go and watch that. I actually created a playlist for the 10-day Samhain Spiritual Reset 10-day challenge. If you want to go check that out. But that spell, I remember they spoke of, I want to say it was gold and green, but something they wanted us to get. I can't remember. Don't quote me. But it made me think of that. And I said, we're even going to probably do a recap of that for the full moon so that we can all do that spell. It's interesting how, I naturally, quote unquote, do spells all the time, but in this time when the veil is thinner, the witches are really coming through to just kind of shake us up and remember our practice. Like we're here for a reason. Also, I feel like I'm reading this backwards, but even though this says intensification, I swear to God, I saw manifestation though. Like in my mind's eye, like that said manifestation. So the fact that we've got spring and Litha, and then we've got ethos and manifestation. This is some serious stuff going on. They're like, they won't let me speak. Okay, so all I can tell you is whatever seeds you are planting right now, whether in the Southern Hemisphere, you're planting seeds for spring to come around in fall, or you're planting the seeds towards your manifestation. Look at that. Look at how those fell together. Oh, I'm hearing you have to get the intensification that they just said around the manifestation. Why they fell together like that is because you've got to get serious about it. It's like, I feel like every moon cycle, so not everybody, but some of you, I feel like every moon, it's like, I feel like you almost feel guilty that you're like, I should have got more serious this moon cycle. Like I should really set that intention. I should have done that. Spirit's saying, okay, well, this is the time to do it because it's very rare to have a solar eclipse, partial or otherwise, on a new moon. So you've got a new moon in Scorpio and a solar eclipse on the same day. That is like giving you like amplification, like amplified energy of this manifestation. And if you don't believe that it's going to come together, then it won't, because those who don't believe in the magic will never find it. But Spirit is saying, I am telling you that you will get this manifestation. It will happen, but you have got to get serious. You've got to you got to step it up. That's what I'm hearing from Spirit. It's time to step it up. And I feel like for some of you, you're like, I know. They're like, no more excuses. It's always something. Not everybody, but you know who you are. They don't like to give us bitch slaps, but I will tell you, when it comes to the witches, they don't fuck around. And they're like, if you are here, it's like, then what are you here for? If you want to know what's going to be happening over the next, moon cycle for you, it's like, you have to put in the work and you got to get serious about it. You got to amp up your intensification of it and send it out into the universe. It's funny. And the other reading, it was like, no, it was going out too. But this gave a representation of the phoenix rising out of the ashes. And it will happen. It will happen. It's either planting the seeds or you're going to get it in spring. So for my Northern Hemisphere people, you will start seeing your manifestation blooming by the time that spring rolls around. And I'm actually hearing late spring for some of you, like May, specifically May. We've been getting time frames a lot lately. And you know what? I knew this was going to come up for somebody, but I wasn't sure who. But give me a minute. Hold on. By the way, when I paused, it was 11 minutes exactly. So that's your angel number to work with, is 11, or a wink, wink from Spirit. So, as most of you know, my channel was Lula's Labyrinth for a really long time. And I didn't really start getting into the moon cycles until January of this year, when they had me switch to the magical medium and focus on that. And if you'll see, there's like a playlist for it, for all the moon cycle readings. But I was just looking back at my calendar for the last few years. I did not realize that, like, is this normal? Because I only have my calendar from the last few years. But I was like, I don't think I ever realized that new moons and full moons in spring and in fall are eclipses. So for this year, hold on. I just had it. Hold on. Okay, so in 1154, let's see, another angel number. So the new black moon, the partial solar eclipse, was on the 30th of April. And if you remember, we had two new moons, April 1st and April 30th of earlier this year. So there's something in there that I feel like there are some of you that were planting seeds back then in the spring, and now by the end of this Scorpio season, you planted those in the spring. You started, working with your magic, and you intensified your magic and your work with Spirit. And now your manifestation is coming true. By the end of Scorpio season, which will be like the third week in, let's just see, I just had it. So then the Sagittarius season is the 21st, and the new moon in Sagittarius is the 23rd. So yeah, so by like the third week in November, right before Thanksgiving, the Gratitude Day in the Northern Hemisphere in the United States, that's when it's all going to come together. And you guys are going to, I'm feeling like some of you guys are going to just finally be like, like breathe out a sigh of relief. You're like, oh my gosh, let's see if there's any more. Are there any more messages that want to come in this one? Ooh! Moon cycles. So as you know, that's why I said, I'm like, I'm learning so much. And I don't know if it's always like that. It might just be magical these last few eclipse seasons, the last, few years in the eclipse seasons, that they fell on new moons and full moons. But maybe it's always that way. But either way, this is why Spirit, oh, wow, I just lost my my flash. My phone's about to die. That's okay. So this is why, hold on. Okay, love it. I got my little lantern. This moon card is so intense. So the fact that, and look at how they have the maiden mother crone. Do you see that imagery there? That's what they're trying to promote there, is the maiden mother crone energy. Oops, sorry. And so it's time to start working with the moon cycles. It's been coming up. It was in the 10-day, it's like for years, I was always the first one to do certain things, or I was the one that's like, I'm going to do it. I don't care. I'm going to do it. And I would do it before everybody else. And I didn't care what anybody thought. And I would just do what I wanted to do. And over the years, as I got older, I was getting less and less brave, because I was getting more and more made fun of. And I just wasn't sure like who I was or what I was doing or what was happening. And so, my entire thing has been a labor of love with Spirit. And I feel like that wants to go there. And long story short, it wasn't until Spirit asked me to start doing readings by the moon cycles that I started to understand so many things. So please work with the moon cycles. One of our fellow soul family members, Anna, gifted me with this beautiful moon phases notebook. And it really challenged me to look at each cycle for what it is. And there are 8 phases, and you'll see there's a playlist there. So if you're interested in it, go and look at some of the old past moon cycle readings. But right now, the new moon is number 1. It's new beginnings. It's black. It's a clean slate. Think of it as like a chalkboard, right? Like no one's written on it. It's empty. You can manifest anything you want. You can put anything that you want into motion by using the moon cycles. That's what I'm getting from Spirit, is that they want us to start really utilizing the moon cycles. Like that's what they're there for. So 1 is new beginnings, new moon. The second phase is the waxing crescent, where we set our intentions for the new moon. And number 3 is the first quarter moon, taking action. Number 4 is waxing gibbous, refine and focus our intention. Then we get to the full moon, which is number 5, the 5th phase, and that's celebration and blessings, right? Because honestly, if you're setting an intention for something new to come into your life, it should only take a little while for you to start seeing it grow. Even if it's something as simple, as like, maybe you change something up on your channel, or, like I'm using myself as an example for like YouTube. Like maybe you just change something up on your channel, and then all of a sudden it's like, people are like, oh, okay, I'm interested in that. And so they start like going, towards it. It's like, but we have to, make one little change. And for me, like I changed my name, I changed the format. And then I realized what was happening, and how important the moon cycles were as a witch, and that I had lost my practice. And over the last 10 months, I have gained so much from following these cycles. Oh, and if you look at the readings from the last 10 months in that playlist, it's pretty awesome. They're all timeless too. Then number 6 is the waning gibbous, which is reflect and release. So we look back on the things that, the intentions that we set, and what isn't working, we let go of it. What is working, we keep it and keep moving forward. Then we have number 7, which is the third quarter moon, transition and forgiveness. It's when we're transitioning out of what is no longer serving us and moving forward into our path, and forgiving and letting go of the things that didn't work, and not getting so worked up about it. Like the ethos makes me think of the ether, like give it back to Spirit, give it back to the ether. And even if it was something that wasn't super great, I'm getting from Spirit, like that's okay. Because it's learning. You still want to be grateful for it, and as fucked up and dark as it is, like I've had some really horrific things happen to me, I've been raped, I've horrible things, but I will still look back, and there will be something in that situation that I learned, or that I needed for my growth, I guess it's the same thing, but you know what I mean? It's like, you can't think of a horrific thing like that, right? And go, oh no. But yes, we actually do learn from things that are horrible to us. And then the last phase is the waning crescent, number 8. And that's when we rest and restore. That's when we look back on the moon cycle and we say, okay, again, like what worked, what didn't. What do I want to set intentions for this next moon? And utilizing that energy, right? Because, whenever you watch this, it's timeless, but in real time, we are in Scorpio energy. So if you're asking, what do I want to, what messages or information do I need to learn or take with me over this moon cycle? It's like Spirit's giving it to you. But at the same time, we just let go of Libra. Like we just let go of the Libra moon. Like literally within hours of me doing this reading. So it's going to take a little while to go from the air energy and the energy of Libra to move us forward into the water flowing energy of Scorpio and all the other energies that come with Scorpio. And that's for you to research and look through. How can you utilize the Scorpio energy and this Scorpio moon? How can you utilize that energy to help you further your manifestation? Or maybe, you're still in the rest and restore phase. You're not ready to set intentions yet. Maybe you're not. Maybe you're still working through some shadow stuff. That's okay too. But even setting the intention of staying focused on your shadow and working through that and committing to that so that you can move forward, even that is working on your manifestation, because as you're working through the dark, it's going to push you forward to bring that intensification back for the love of life and for love of like what it is that you want to do. Okay, Spirit, do we have any more messages for reading number 4? Ooh, gosh, this one like ripped right out. Okay, so this came up in one of the other readings. So if you were interested, you were drawn to reading 1 or reading 2, you may want to go check it out. And you may, all 3 of these were educational. I got something out of all 3 of these. So banishment and hex. So this one's not reading the same as it did for the other cards and for the other readings. So I am going to give y'all a little time to look at this imagery, okay? The thing I'm getting from Spirit is I feel like for some of you, it's almost like you're banishing your own manifestation. It's like it's getting close to you, or you get really close and then you give up. Or you go in the opposite direction because you're like, it's not happening, it's not happening. They're like, oh my gosh, you were so close. And then you do it again and again and again. This came up in one of the other readings. It's like, are you getting the same thing, right? Are you doing like, you're like, what's that old saying? If you give what you always give, you'll get what you always got. So, you know, there's something needs to change. And you need to banish it from your life. You need to, you know, if you want to put a hex on it, that's up to you. Research hexes. I mean, I don't hex anything personally because, you know, in the law of magic is first do no harm. And, you know, if you're putting any type of energy out into the world to hex people, it's going to come back to you, you know, threefold. So just remember that whatever you're putting out is going to come back. And it could just be that you're the only one, that you're the reason why your manifestation isn't happening. And it sucks when it's us. I know. I actually had a few aha moments through these readings today. I was like, yep, well, that's probably why it's not. Oh, when I looked down, it was 2155, which is also the number 13. So yes, 13 is not a negative number, you guys. 13 is the number of the goddess, and it's also the number of the witch. So, and 1 and 3 is 4, and 4 is all about stability and balance, just like the cycles are. That's why we have these cycles of the moon, to help us balance out our magic. See that magic and that tense in back there? That's how they help us, because we're not meant to go 24/7. We're not meant to like chug down fucking 5 Red Bulls and, you know, 6 espressos, double espressos to keep us going. No. Our bodies are meant to go on the moon cycles. And once we really get that and identify with that, everything will come together. I've had to get really fucking like hardcore with people recently that don't get it. I will tell them certain things and they're like, okay. And then like, they'll like do something and I'm like, whoa, like I told you, I'm not, you know, there, I'm not available. I'm not, you know, blah, blah, blah. That doesn't mean you like still keep texting me during that time. It's like, no, it's like, you know, I even gave them someone else to talk to. I was like, you know what? This is the person that you can, I'm like, this is what I'm doing now. And they're like, okay. And I had my phone off and I turn on my phone and I see I have a voicemail and I laughed. And I was just like, if it is that person, I swear. And at first I laughed and I thought it was funny, but then I got more angry and more angry. And then I just realized the energy I was putting out to them. I was kind of hexing them. I was kind of like, you know, fuck off. Like, I was just kind of like, what the fuck, dude? You know, because I was like, and then like my one friend who I like, you know, I'm like, did they reach out to you or message you? They're like, no. I'm like, so I'm like, I even said to them, like, do you understand? Like, do you understand why? Blah, blah. And they're like, yeah, yeah. And I'm like, oh my gosh. Because sometimes people just have tunnel vision. And, you know, they're like, me, all about me, you know? So you may need to get some people, you need to banish some people from your orbit so that you can focus on your manifestation, because it's not going to come if you're, you know, it's not going to happen. Like if you're working with the moon cycles, it's not going to happen unless you ban it. The manifestation won't happen unless you banish certain people and certain energies. That's just the way it goes. That's just another message for somebody else. And this one came in for all 3. So, you know, working with your altar and your work, your spirit work, and being dedicated to whatever it is going to also help with the manifestation. You can't just set the manifestation out into the universe and not do anything towards it. You have got to work towards your goals. And you can ask for help. The spirits will help you. The angels will help you, but they cannot help you unless you ask for help. So spelling is all about writing it down. What do you need? Write it. What do you need? Write down your manifestation right now. Write down what you want to accomplish over the next new moon cycle, the next Scorpio new moon. What do you want to accomplish? Put it down, get detailed about it, talk to spirit about it, and ask them to send you signs and ask them, you know what I mean? Whatever you need. And then by the end of the moon cycle, see what you come up with. Okay? But you've got to be dedicated to the work, because if you're not dedicated, then it's not going to happen. And here is another one. Wand, intention. Yes, be very mindful. Again, it's like pointing the finger. See how they had in here, like the finger was there? Well, now see how the finger is pointing towards this, the banishment, the hexing is pointing towards you, but the wand is pointing away towards the light. It's the same for you. Be really mindful of your intention. You know? And this person, I was getting really, really angry. And then today I just was like, you know what? I have got to remember like that where they are in their practice, like we're just not at the same level of consciousness, and getting angry at them is really just bringing negative energy back to myself. I just got to send the intention that, you know what I mean? Like the light out to them, the ET finger, you know, like I got to send my intentions to the light and ask spirit to help them. Because sometimes we get to a certain point, we can't help everybody, you guys, even the most powerful witches in the world. It's not our job. We're not here to save people. You know, people have to save themselves. So make sure that your intention, you know, is good. And that you're not, you know, trying to force somebody's hand because you are going against the grain. Also, look to tarot for guidance. For some of you that have decks, you can use your tarot for guidance. And also it could be for some of you that you're meant to be readers. I always feel that when I see this card. So maybe you're meant to do your own channel, you know, where you work with the moon cycles, or maybe you work with, you know, tarot cards or something like that. You want to start your own channel? Do it. Also, don't forget to research ethos. They keep putting that out there, okay? I think that might be my husband coming home, so perfect timing. Do we want to use this one? Nope. Okay. All right, you guys. Are there any more messages? Oh, they're just saying for guidance, don't abuse your cards. You're not meant to like pull cards every single day, you know? Well, okay, let me back up. If you want to pull a card every day, like a mantra card, or like, you know, what's my intention today, spirit? Is there something, you know, is there something you want me to focus on today? What's the intention? One of my favorite things from Dr. Wayne Dyer is how may I serve? Every day, Dr. Wayne Dyer in morning meditation would say to spirit, to their spirit guides or whatever, I'm paraphrasing, but they would say, I was trying to show the spider and they're like, it's okay. And they would say, how may I serve? And then the energy would come to them and they would know, you know, like they would know what to do. And so spirit's saying, seek the light and ask spirit, you know, do I need to pull cards today? Do I not need to pull cards today? You'll know. You can use your pendulum. You know, there's other ways to do it, but they just don't want you to rely too much on your cards, because sometimes they can really take us in the wrong direction. And let me tell you from personal experience, it's easy to do. So rely on your intuition, meditate. The answers will come to you in the same way. Sometimes using the cards can be a shortcut, which is why I love using them as a visual, but they're also sometimes a shortcut. I do that with my pendulum because I'm doing so much work all the time, but even myself, I can abuse my pendulum very easily. So don't abuse your healing tools, and make sure that you're setting your intentions for the greatest and highest good for yourself and for the greatest and highest good of all, but not necessarily, you know, trying to manipulate the outcome of someone else's life. Okay, you guys, those are your messages. Until next time, take really good care of yourselves and each other. All of my information is in the description box below, and I'll see you at the next reading. Blessed be. Oh.